More go around with DraftKings contributors Steve Buchanan, Julian Edlow, and Reid Fowler. Let's take a look at the rest of the first round. So QBs expected to go early are Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. Jules, if one of them were to fall out of the top 10, who would it be and where would they land?
If any of them fall out of the top 10, it is going to be a storyline. I think, Fields is the guy that we're hearing the rumors about sliding. He's the lowest over-under now on DK Sportsbook at 7.5. I still think his floor is 9 to Denver, so he's going to stay in the top 10. So I'm going to say whoever San Francisco passes on, the report is that it's either Mac Jones, who's heavily favored, or Lance. Whoever San Francisco passes on at 3 out of those two guys, I would say is the most likely to fall out of the top 10. And if it is Lance, like my mock draft has, I think Mac Jones, who was never considered a top 10 pick all along, would probably be the most likely guy to fall out.
Reid, who do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I think it's Mac Jones, right? The only team that's really been tied to him inside this top 10 has been San Francisco. So what Julian is saying is, I agree with that. If they don't pick him, I think he slides. Maybe New England tries to trade up for him, but I doubt that. I think most of these teams in their evaluation of Mac Jones has him in the mid to, to the later teens where he's probably fit there. I would say if Washington moves up a couple of spots to try and get a quarterback, they're probably eyeing a guy like Mac Jones. So it'll probably be him for me.
Steve, who do you think?
Yeah, I'll just agree here with Mac Jones. I mean, I have Fields going to the 49ers still, and I thought that Jones was going to end up going to the Broncos. And obviously, after making the move for Bridgewater, it looks like they may not be doing that. But as I said earlier in the show, Adam Schefter said they're still not out of the running for a quarterback. So they still essentially could take Mac Jones in this spot. But of all the guys there, it looks like he could be the one if the 49ers don't end up taking him, because obviously that would create a trickle-down effect, and he could be going in the mid-round, in the first round instead.
Reid, give us a pick you think is a lock for a team outside the top 10.
I think Greg Newsome to the Jets at 23, and I'm going a little bit further down the board, but after they pick their quarterback at number 2, they really have to shore up that pass defense. The run defense was fine last year. It's actually above average. But that pass defense was terrible. I mean, they were circulating through a bunch of defensive backs. None of them could stay healthy. And Greg Newsome, even though he's had some injury concerns out of Northwestern, I think is a guy that if he slides because of those injury concerns, they're going to look at that and say, there's a lot of upside with this. We need to shore up that back end of our defense. So give me him at number 23 to the Jets.
Steve, what do you think?
I think Waddle going to the Eagles is almost a lock at 12. I mean, I think the best thing that could have happened for the Eagles is that Waddle had that ankle injury, and it kind of scared some teams off of him, because now it looks like he's going to be drafted outside the top 10, and it gives Jalen Hurts, not the starter yet, but, we'll hold off on for that announcement. But it gives him an outside receiver that he can hook up with. I mean, you look at that depth chart for the Eagles when it comes to their receivers. I mean, it's Rieger, Ward, and Fulgham right now. And then Zach Ertz probably out of the mix. Even if he's still in the mix, he's non-existent when he's on the field anyway. So they need another receiver for Hurts to hook up with. This would be a perfect spot. They don't have to move up or down to grab him here. So I think this is a one that I feel the most confident about outside the top 10.
Jules, a lock outside the top 10.
I'll stick with my strengths first, and my strengths are always arguing with Steve. Waddle's not going to be there at 12. His draft prop was set at 11.5. It's down to 9.5. He's minus 150 to be a top 10 pick. Almost every team that you hear from prefers him to Smith. I think that Waddle, my mock draft stinks. So I think Waddle going 7.
I was going to say, you probably have the worst mock of everyone. So I don't know if we want to listen to you, but
probably, but I can admit that and say that it changes day to day leading up to the draft. So I think Waddle at 7 to a team like the Lions, who needs to replace Galladay, and needs to get Goff some weapons. I just think that the Eagles would be thrilled to get a guy like Waddle at 12. But for me, I also like to always cheat when we're asked these questions. I think at number 10, Patrick Surtain to Dallas is, if he's still there, if he's not gone, that's a lock. But to answer the question and play by the rules, Najee Harris, number 24 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe not the best value. I don't taking a running back that high, but that's what they want to do. And his name is heavily linked to that. So Harris is going 24 to Pittsburgh. That would be my most confident outside of the top 10 playing by the rules.
All right, so Julian admits that he likes to cheat, and his mock draft stinks. I think we're in mid-season form here, Jessie.
We are, and it's going amazing.
I'm honest with myself, guys.
You guys are doing amazing. Steve, what's your favorite draft prop that's available on the DK Sportsbook?
So I'm always a sucker for these parlays, but the DraftKings Sportsbook has these pick parlays that you can choose from. So you can choose the first wide receiver, running back, and offensive lineman off the board. So Chase, Harris, and Sewell are even money right now. I mean, Harris is the likely destination for the Steelers, plus 200 odds on that one. And then Sewell and Chase, both favorites to go in the top 10. So you're getting even money on this play for guys who are in the top 10 are, the heavy favorites in their respective positions. So I love this one here to get even money on. Go on the DraftKings Sportsbook, scroll all the way over, do a little pick parlay there, find those 3 studs, and grab some even money for the win.
All right, Jules, what do you think? What's your favorite draft prop?
Yeah, I had my best bets article on Tuesday, and it was by far Kyle Pitts to be the first non-quarterback selected, and that was minus 150 when I wrote it up. I was a little mad I didn't get it at minus 120 like it was earlier in the week, and now it's like minus 400-ish, I think. So that one's gone. I think, like I said, if I'm confident in a pick, it's that Surtain is going 10 if he's there, and if Dallas doesn't get a crack at him, that means he's gone. So Patrick Surtain under 10.5 is still minus 159. It's juicy. I like Steve's play a lot. Those 3 guys are very safe to go at the top at each position. So if you want something closer to even odds, that's where you want to go. But if you don't mind laying juice, Surtain under 10.5 at minus 159 is, I think, a very strong bet.
Reed, what do you think?
Yeah, just looking at right now the top 5. Earlier this morning when I was just doing some research, it looked like Penny Sewell was at plus 100 to be inside the top 5 picks. He's now drifted to plus 125, and Jamar Chase has gone to minus 175 to be in the top 5. So that might give you some indication on how the books are reacting to where Chase is going to go. Probably Cincinnati there. So I still think that Penny Sewell is a great fit, and clearly I think everyone does, with Cincinnati. The plus 125 there, I think it's really a toss-up, and it might come down to how are they really feeling and how the other 3 or 4 picks shape up. I don't think it really affects Cincinnati, but Penny Sewell at plus 125 to be inside the top 5, I think is a great value.
All right, you can bet on a player to be drafted in round 1 as well. Is there anyone you can get some value on that might sneak into the first round, Jules?
Yeah, so I wrote up in my article, Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver from Florida, at minus 121. I still like that. I think there's spots from 25 to 32 that he can go. But like I said, I'm honest, so I have a little bit less faith in that position than I did a couple of days ago. I like Travis Etienne more, I would say, at minus 125. I just think, like we said, I'm confident that Harris is the pick at 24. He's otherwise going to be a top 25 pick or so. I've seen him as high as Miami, 18 in some mocks. So, let's say Harris is going to go in the first round. Etienne, 25 to Jacksonville, pair him with his college teammate, Trevor Lawrence. We've seen a lot of smoke at 30 to Buffalo. And maybe a team trades into the back end that really likes him. So rather than take him in the top 32, though, we're so confident that Harris is going to be a first-round pick. You can just get over 1.5 running backs in the first round at plus 140. So rather than lay the minus 125 on just Etienne to go, you got both of those guys going at plus 140. And if something crazy happens and one of these other running backs, like a Javonte Williams from UNC would probably be the only name, goes instead of Etienne or Harris for some reason, you still cash that because it's just a position bet.
Under 3 minutes, so make it snappy, Reed.
Yeah, I think Terrace Marshall out of LSU might sneak into the top that first round. I think Baltimore is a lock to get a receiver in their second pick in the first round. So give me Terrace Marshall.
Steve.
I think that you can get De'Ami Brown at plus 600 because, kind of like what Reed just alluded to, is a couple teams near the end of that first round that need a wide receiver. Right, Green Bay Packers, you listening, you dopes. But, between them, the Saints, and then even Reed mentioned, even the Ravens, those are 3 teams that could realistically be drafting a wide receiver in the first round. So you want to talk about some value, getting one of the ones that if he's not done in the first round, he's certainly an early second round pick. At plus 600, I would certainly lay some money down on that one and get some real good value for Brown.
All right, guys, so quick here. Leave us with your bold draft prediction. What is your draft hot take, Reed?
Davis Mills goes into the first round, and 6 quarterbacks get taken out of Stanford. Only 11 starts, plus 1,200 to go in the first round. It could happen.
Steve.
Still think the Patriots go up to 7, grab Trey Lance, and all is over.
Julian.
The Patriots are trading back. They're not trading up. Whoever selects Justin Fields trades up to acquire him, I guess, is my maybe not as hot of a take, but a take. And the Patriots trade back. Parlay him.